I heard the rumors. The rumors is out, people. The rumors, which actually I haven't verified yet, but actually I kind of did verify because I seen a news report. Apparently, Keefe D has secured a $750,000 bond that was paid by Vlad TV.
Yeah. It's paid by Wack 100.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously, Keefe D, who was now charged with the murder of Tupac Shakur,
His involvement.
His involvement. He's locked up. And now he's gotten a bond that seemingly was, at first I was hearing it was $1 million, then it was like 750,000. Yeah. But apparently he has now gotten that amount secured, and he will be released subsequently. Maybe on house arrest, we don't know yet.
Me and Wack talked about this. He was talking about doing it. I had heard that he did it. I'm not 100% sure.
Would you ever do something like that?
I'm sorry?
Would you ever do something like that in terms of, I feel like you're a businessman. You do deals.
Yeah, I mean, it was an idea, but it was like, I've already kind of gotten the interviews that I want to do with Keefe. So me doing that, I don't see me myself having an actual financial benefit. So,
well, you don't think that maybe, I know for Wack, he was talking about the benefit, maybe a documentary or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably what he's going to do. So he had to put up $75,000, and the rest was a bail bondsman. So it's a $75,000 investment that he'll lose, and then hopefully he'll make that back with content with Keefe D. There's probably some sort of contract in place. That's what I'm thinking, and I think he mentioned that in my interview.
But what about, and you're one of the greatest people in media in almost cataloging stories that maybe this will pop up later and be very important.
Right.
Don't you think at this juncture, and you've done interviews with him, but right now we would just like to hear Keefe D speak on Diddy. That could be something. I mean, right?
It's not 75,000 something, but it's something.
You could probably milk it for a few, right?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, listen, Wack has done well financially. He in terms of his business deals. I'm sure he's thought it through carefully. He feels it's a good investment, whether he put up the money himself or whether he got an investor. Who knows? And Keefe D will be out. He's happy. He couldn't come up with the money himself, it seems. And I think it's probably a win-win situation for everybody. He'll get to sit. I believe the trial's in November. So he'll get to June, July, August, September, October, November. For 5 months, he'll get to sit at home and relax as opposed to being in a jail cell.
Predictions on that trial, what do you think is going to happen?
I mean, I think that Keefe, based on his lawyer, I saw an interview with his lawyer in Las Vegas. Their defense is that Keefe wasn't actually there in Vegas. He made the whole thing up to get out of a criminal case and then to make some money afterwards. It'll hinge on that. If they could prove that he was in Las Vegas, then he's probably going to be found guilty. If they could bring up a reasonable doubt that he wasn't even there, this is where the Foxy Brown thing comes in, right? Because in the book, and I actually brought this up in my interview, and he kind of danced around the subject a little bit. In the book, after Orlando got jumped, they went and hooked up with Eric Von Zip. And Eric Von Zip was hanging out with Foxy Brown, and Zip gave them the gun, which they used to kill Tupac. So Foxy, if she gets on the stand and says, yes, I was with Zip, they handed over the gun to Keefe D, who's sitting right there, then Keefe's cooked. But Foxy's probably not going to take the stand.
But wouldn't that also, if you're Keefe D, then try to, okay, I might be cooked, but I'm going to throw it on this was a murder for hire. Hey, yeah, they gave me the gun. The reason why they gave me the gun, that guy was a middleman.
Actually, and what's interesting is that Roger Bonds mentioned that Zip was actually dating Puffy's mother.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Really?
Yeah. He knew Puffy's dad. They were like in the streets together, I guess. But at the time, I believe at the time, I'm not sure about the time, but at some point, Zip and Puffy's mom were a couple.
Wow.
Remember Puffy's dad got killed a while ago.
Yeah. Now, when you see this happen, right, and obviously there is a potential that they might be like, hey, they might try to subpoena some footage from Keefe D. How are you going to deal with that? And do you, because you've dealt with Keefe D, maybe just through business in terms of interviewing him, are you hoping there's a particular outcome or not? And what do you think about if they ask you for like, yo, Vlad, we need the BTS, okay?
They've already tried it. I have a dozen messages on my phone from Las Vegas PD asking for my raw footage, and I'm not cooperating.
Really?
I just didn't respond. Not cooperate. I just didn't respond.
Wow.
They would have to subpoena my footage, and then I would be able to fight it and say, since I'm the press, I don't have to provide anything. If they do call me to the stand and I'm forced to take the stand, I'm probably going to be a hostile witness. I'm going to just say, I don't know. I don't remember. I haven't looked at the footage in a while, which I haven't. So it's like, y'all can ask me a bunch of random questions. You know, I don't want Keefe D to serve the rest of his life in prison. That was never my intention, which is why I'm not cooperating with the police. Like, my whole thing was...
Yeah, some people, like for example, when Patrick Bet David interviews Sugar or anyone else around that, he clearly says he loved Tupac so much that that's one of the reasons, even when he talks about Diddy, he doesn't like him. He feels like there was something behind that resulted in. And so he has like a axe to grind. You're saying you're not interviewing these guys and like, okay, hopefully I could trip you up that there's a detective somewhere.
No, that's not me. And actually, I don't know if you guys ever saw the documentary The Jinx on HBO. This guy named Robert Durst. He had killed 3 people and gotten away with it. He even beat one of the case. He chopped up the body of the second guy and he beat that case in trial. He's worth like $100 million. He's a part of a big real estate family from New York. And he decides to do an interview like in his 70s with these filmmakers that did a film kind of loosely based around some of his situations. And then he keeps a hot mic on him and he goes to the bathroom and he says, yeah, I killed them all. And then they use that to then arrest him and then charge and convict him.
Really? Wait, hold on. What's the name of this?
Robert Durst. It's called The Jinx. They actually have the Jinx Part 2. The first Jinx was when he actually got caught up. And it came out, and basically the authorities were basically ready to arrest him as soon as that aired. You know what I'm saying? So
how did they get that audio?
The filmmakers gave it to him, which I thought was grimy. Because this guy sat down, did an interview for you. You made a documentary out of the interview. You made money, whatever else was on HBO. Then you turn around and give them audio. You could take the audio and give it to the authorities to help convict the person who you interviewed. And also, when they played the audio of him in the bathroom kind of talking to himself, they played it in a different order to make it sound worse than it really was. See what I'm saying? So I thought that was grimy. Like, I wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
keep it 100, Vlad. If you interviewed OJ before he died, and OJ goes to take a piss, your guy forgets to hit the mic off, which they usually do.
Well,
right?
I'll do you one better. I know where you're going with this. When Keefe D was doing our first interview, his co-writer was there with him, the guy who wrote the book.
Okay.
With him, right? They wanted to go outside for a second. As they're going outside, my cameraman looks at me and said, "The mic's still on," and I said to turn off the mic, to turn off the recorder, because I didn't want that. And I'm sure they probably said some shit outside that they don't want out. But I told
don't tell him that you really did this.
I told my cameraman to turn it off because I didn't even want it in my possession. Because my whole thing is, when you sit down with me, I want you to feel like, you know, you could trust me in the regard that I'm not going to sit there and try to
like set you up
or whatever else. You know you're being recorded when you do a Vlad TV interview. You're wearing a wire that you put up your own shirt.
Have you ever put out a secret record or a recording that maybe the person was unaware of?
No.
For any reason?
No.
Okay, that's dope.
And in fact, a lot, like for example, when I did, Lunel did it on our platform. She interviewed Tiffany Haddish, and there was a very traumatic part of that interview that they talked about. And Tiffany called me and said, "Can you please not run that?" And I said, "Sure, I got you." So that footage has never seen the light of day.
Really? So, you know what? I was talking to Adam. So when Adam came in here, and I was talking about like just certain interviews that just never seen the light of day. Yeah. Like for example, Jaquise come in here and like right after like the whole Trey Songz thing, he said whatever, but it was a little bit too honest. And I knew sometimes as the interview you know what this is gonna do. Like he says some stuff that I'm like, yo, your girl is gonna be on TMZ beating you up as you run out the house because you're like wilding in this interview. I go up to Utah, which this is one that Adam was like, how could you not put this out?
NBA YoungBoy one?
Yeah. And I go up there and he pretty much tells me, he says, "Listen, I trust you. I do want to tell you why I was mad at like Gillian Wallow for them putting out footage. I have really strict rules here. And yeah, it might have been frustrating because they didn't get the footage they wanted. So they went with some footage. But if the feds look at that, there's things in there that could get me jammed up. Yeah. And I recorded things around him. Shit, we recorded stuff because I had a cameraman with me. And, you know, he was untrustworthy of a lot of stuff. Like, he knows me, he doesn't know my cameraman. Yeah. And we went through and deleted stuff in front of him, right? Okay, so now we have footage, and we still have footage. But he says, listen, I'm not trying to fuck up your whatever integrity as like a media, but he says, tell me before you put it out. He says, shake with me as men that we could both review the footage and it'd be something you'll put out. I'm gonna be honest with you. I won't be the person to sit here and say everyone that walks into this room I would say that way, because sometimes people come in here and they'll say some shit and it's not like necessarily like criminal, nothing like that. But these people are trying to have a PR interview, right? So they don't want anything that is remotely real to be in the interview. Those people might be like, yeah, I'm not taking that out. But for someone on federal house arrest that invites you into their space, going up there, like the dude it's the craziest thing ever. I would have felt so shitty if they were like, hey, listen, U.S. Exhibit 1 is this academics video that he put out that you're breaking our rules. I would feel so shitty. Yeah. And I still haven't published that yet. I know he'll get out of the situation. I have footage. We'll put it out some other time. I'm glad you're like that too. Like you're not like footage hungry type shit.
There has to be more footage at one point, and the relationship is usually more important than whatever the footage is. You know, and the other day we're not here to jam anybody up. Like the only time that I'm aware that our footage was used in a trial is probably going to be this Keefe D case. Even that, I'm not totally sure if it's going to be used because there's no trial yet. But that was the only time I talked about an open case, but that was because he already wrote the book. And he already talked about it. He wrote a damn book. And I'm like, okay, if you're going to write a book, then it's already out there. Then okay, well, let's talk about what's in the book. That was the only time I ever did that.
Yeah. They had in the YSL case, they're like, hey, for the state DA says, hey, we want to introduce some videos or recap videos, commentary videos that years ago academics did about the Young Thug and Birdman and Wayne Bush shooting that goes into this YSL conspiracy. And the judge looks at them and says, who's this video from? They say it's from DJ Academics. The judge says, you've already entered like 400 things in evidence. This is like more things to try to enter in evidence. I'll consider it if you get this guy to possibly come in. And this is everything's recorded. Like you can watch it every day there. So everyone's hitting me. Are you gonna do it? Are you gonna? And I'm like, I want no fucking parts of this thing. Like I want no parts. And also, that was a reflection about the DA's office because I was a person that never been to the vicinities that Young Thug was frequenting in my bedroom in New Jersey, making a video that really I don't really have context to. Why the fuck would you want me to come in there?
Yeah, I mean, they're grasping at strings, basically.